Hey everyone, this is Chris from Dias Ex Machina, and this is kind of my monthly report to talk about what's been going on with the company. As some of you may know, I just had surgery last week. I had my gallbladder removed, so I've been a little indisposed. And it's not that I haven't been trying to be productive. I have. I've been actually writing pretty feverishly for the past 2 months. We just released in August the Bestiary. Turned out to be a huge success. A lot of people really loved it. Haven't had any negative feedback. Knock on wood. So I'm really happy about that. And based on that success, we're continuing to follow that up with more ultramoderns crunch books, which is honestly something I should have done immediately after the release of Redo, but I was more concerned with more settings. And obviously, there's a lot of demand for just hard crunch, not adventures, but hard crunch. So we're following up with an armory, which we're going to be talking about here in a few seconds. And then we're going to also have a couple lore books out there to kind of make sure that we offset the normal releases with Kickstarter releases. One of the first things I want to talk about is the fact that we have stopped all of our offset printing. Obviously, there's numerous reasons financially, but also politically, and that go involved in that. If we run a print on demand crowdfunding campaign, the turnaround is a lot faster, and and at the end of the day, you're not saving that much uh, in getting an offset print run. Print on demand books are extremely high quality. I have a huge collection of print on demand books behind me, which you can't see, but I'm very happy with the quality that they put out. The downside, of course, is we can't have stuff like satin bookmarks and spot UV coating. But in that same, do you want to wait a year and a half for a book, or you could wait 6 months? And that's kind of where we're looking at, where it would be so much easier to release a print on demand. Like even something with when you're dealing with Ultramodern Redo, the print on demand was out months and months and months before the offset got to people's hands, and I really didn't like that. And to a point where, with the offset, with some of these book releases, I actually did not activate the print on demand until the offsets were getting shipped out, and then he activated the print on demand, and I had to wait for months for that to happen. And especially now with shipping time delays, even if I finish the book, say like today, it's print on demand books can get shipped off to people as early as 2 or 3 months from now. But on offset print run, suddenly you're waiting until this time next year for all these books to get printed, shipped, get to distribution. It's a really frustrating process. So in the future, we're just going to continue doing that. If I continue doing offset print runs, it'll probably still stay with Ultramodern, because that actually is a well selling book in game stores. And that's the other thing, is that something like Amethyst is such a niche product that may not generate the type of additional sales in game stores like Ultramodern is continuously selling. So that's what we're going to be doing from now on. Yes, that means I may not be able to once again do these special book runs like leather wrap, the box sets for Affinity. And in the future, maybe there's something we can look to that if I feel there's a demand. But right now, we got two products that we're working on. One is not going to crowdfunding. The other one is. The one that is the Sparkplug Chronicles, uh, which ended up getting so much added content that I ended up taking some content out of it, and I started working on the armory instead, because I was creating all of these rules for modern firearms, and I realized that that should be in the armory and not just in the Sparkplug Chronicles. And I said we'll be talking about that in a second. So we haven't decided when we're launching. Uh, let's get this removed really quickly so you can see that. And those are the two books. The one on this side over here, that's the illustrated book, and then we have the 5e campaign setting there. We're doing the same thing we did with Threshold. The difference is these will be two different SKUs on Drive-Thru RPG. You will be able to get them both at a discount, but they're going to be separate so that you can get physical books for both of them. Compared to Threshold, which currently only the illustrated novel is available as a book and not the 5e. Although we're working on eventually getting that as an option for a POD as well. But in the future, these will be separate releases. The campaign will fund just the artwork, so it's got a very low campaign because it's just funding the artwork. We don't have to worry about reaching thresholds for an offset print run. That's the other advantage of running POD. We can run these campaigns very, very low, and we just pay for art assets. Kind of like what we did with the first Amethyst campaign, which only needed to raise like $8,000 or $9,000. We made about $11,000. We don't have to worry about these campaigns making it to $110,000 just to break even. Because interestingly enough, if I made $5,000 off of this, I would probably it would be more financial. It would be a better financial return than if we did a $50,000 run, and then did an offset print run, because I'm losing almost all of that money to the printing and distribution costs. As it is, sometimes my campaigns will run at a loss because of all those costs. Like my last Ultra Modern campaign, which ran about 2.5 years ago, lost money ultimately. And I have to wait for the books to sell before I can get into the positive. So this could launch anywhere between 1 or 2 weeks. It's going to depend on whether or not I get any more art assets from Nick and when we decide we want to run it. It's only running for 2 weeks. And if I'm not comfortable with the state of the campaign by probably the end of this month, October, then we are most likely going to push it back until February of next year. I'd rather not do that, but if I have to do it, I will. There's a lot of people waiting for the campaign to launch, so I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to make the campaign the way we want it to be. So that is that. This piece of artwork, by the way, got posted to Reddit as part of I wouldn't say a viral thing, but I was trying to explain the lore in general posts, and this one really blew up. It is the defining piece of artwork for the setting. We were also creating a bunch of really neat, like, doctored photos as well, and it was neat. We have a bunch of these actually, but those are going in the game as well. Yeah. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is this, which is the armory. We're looking at a couple pages. This is not final. This is just the raw file before it goes into InDesign. I write things in Word, do all my spell checking and grammar checking and technical stuff, and then I go through it again once it goes into the InDesign. And the InDesign's a layout. My brain changes from creativity to layout, and completely different things apply. When you're looking at these, don't make any judgment calls off of what you're seeing. There's lots of things that may not make a lot of sense. So like damage values can be adjusted. There's a lot of things that we're playing with. But once again, we'll talk about that some other time. There are, I think there's 150 firearms in Ultramodern 5. A bunch more in the expanded books. We put them all in here, but we've expanded it. For example, in Ultramodern 5, there is one non-fantasy crossbow, a carbon crossbow. There are now 16 different crossbows. Turns out there has been huge advances in crossbow technology. So we'll talk about that in another video. So our last count is that there's about 700 firearms in this book. We're currently at 121,000 words, which is kind of insane, considering that I haven't even gotten vehicles. So it's 121,000 words. This is still firearms. I'm still scrolling through. These are still guns. There's a lot of stuff here. We have a couple modern melee weapons as well. And then we get into, that's just, these are the modular systems from Conestoga. And then we are finally into armor. And that's where I'm currently at. I'm working on the Tech Level 3 armor right now. My plan is to still have this book out this year. It's going to take some time. It'll probably take 3 weeks to do the layout. So my guess is that it'll be coming out before Christmas. But currently, I'm hoping to finish off the armor chapter by this week, and then vehicles the week after that. So that's where we're at. We have the Armory book coming out this year. We have Sparkplug Chronicles Kickstarter launching probably in the next few weeks. Once again, if it doesn't get released, I would say if it doesn't come out launch next week, I may be pushing it back. Okay, I absolutely will not have a Kickstarter running around December. I will not have a Kickstarter running through Christmas. So it's not going to work. No one's interested in backing a Kickstarter campaign when they're buying presents for their families. As it stands, November is pushing it. And as it, there's a decent possibility I may push it back until February. I don't want to, but if we do, we're not going to be stopping the project. We're going to continue working on it, continue getting artwork, getting assets, making the campaign look as good as it does, and then launching it in February. The delivery date is probably not going to change because we're still going to be writing it because this is getting made regardless. But that's it. That's all I wanted to talk to you guys about. Like I said, I'm still recuperating, but I am I'm still plugging away. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. My next video is going to be talking about this book in more detail, to talk to everyone about what to expect with this book. It's not going to be as big, I think, as The Bestiary, which was 444 pages, the largest book we ever put out. But I imagine it's going to be quite big once you get everything in there. But anyway, that's been Chris, and I will talk to you guys later.